Infrastructure is going to be really important as we go forward, and there are some challenges around infrastructure. I think the thing to bear in mind too, though, is that the vast majority of people in the initial phases that are going to buy vehicles that plug into the grid are going to be able to plug them in at home or plug them in at work. Those are going to be the primary places, and then as we go forward, it will become increasingly important as more and more people are out and needing to charge their vehicles on the run, to place the infrastructure, the chargers out there where we can, where they're readily available to the customer, and where the customer can find them easily, so that people know just how much charge they require to get to their next charge. There are lots of different opportunities to do this going forward. Fleet operators, of course, know exactly where their vehicles need to be charged. Although we had a session just now that talked about because municipal authorities are changing their locations, sometimes they put in vehicle charging stations and then need to move it later. So it warrants some additional thinking to anticipate where a facility is going to be that people are going to need, so that fleet operators can actually support chargers being in a particular place where they're going to best support their operations. There are also there's a lot of interest among municipal authorities. There's a lot of interest among retail outlets that would like to attract people to their retail outlets by providing charging and so forth as an amenity. These are the kinds of things that I think the market will sort of gravitate itself toward, so that at the end of the day, the consumer can be confident that wherever they're going to take their vehicle, in a pinch they can plug it in there. I am, and that's one of the things that makes EDTA a somewhat unique organization, is that we have vehicle manufacturers and utility companies sitting at the same board table, looking forward to serving the same customer in the not too distant future as more and more of the vehicles start to plug into the grid for fuel. Utilities are trying to anticipate what the needs of their consumers are going to be. They're trying to forecast how many vehicles are going to be out there and how do they prepare their grid for that. Of course, there's an enormous amount of capacity on the grid today, but they need to be able to manage the expectations of their customers, so that when customers are plugging in, it's not providing, or it's not causing an additional burden to the grid when they don't need it, and so forth. I think the vehicle manufacturers, by the same token, are very interested in making certain that consumers have the opportunity to reach out to their utility before they bring their vehicle home, so that they can get some information as well. And so what we have going on right now is a proactive effort to get out ahead of these new vehicle launches that are going to plug into the grid, so that the information that's being given to the consumer is neutral, and it's been vetted by both the utility, i.e. the fuel provider, as well as the vehicle manufacturer, and the consumer has confidence that they've got the right solution, so that they can get the maximum benefit from the vehicle. There are lots of new technology suppliers that are coming to the marketplace, and they're filling in the gaps, trying to anticipate where there are going to be gaps, because many of the partners that are needing to work with one another, they're not natural partnerships, if you will. There has to be somebody that pulls these things together. On the EDTA platform, that's naturally happening now. We have not just utility companies and vehicle manufacturers working together, but we have the Coulombs of the world, the E-Techs, et cetera, those that are going to provide infrastructure, the chargers themselves. We have municipal authorities coming to that table and saying, how do we educate all the different players that need to be educated inside of our orbit? We have smart grid people, the people that are actually bringing the technologies that do the handshake between the car and the grid, so that the right account gets charged, and people can see when they're plugging in, they know what it's going to charge, what it's going to cost, and the utility is certain that they have the back end systems in place to charge the right customer. These are all require additional technologies. In some ways, the electric transportation revolution that's coming, this electrification of transportation, is being enabled by the convergence of many different technologies. So As more vehicles get to the marketplace and we see where those gaps are, there'll be additional technology players that show up to help fill those gaps. I think that one of the interesting things about how these vehicles are going to come to market is that there isn't going to be one particular solution. Each of the OEMs probably is going to offer a slightly different package depending upon what the vehicle configuration is, whether it's a pure battery electric vehicle, whether it's an electric vehicle with a range extender, whether it's a plug-in hybrid vehicle, which is a different configuration altogether. However they're plugging into the grid, there's going to need to be a charger involved. Some of those chargers are going to be on board. Some level 2 chargers are going to need to be in the home or in work environments, etc. You know, that's what is going to make this interesting, is there's no one solution, and that's the beauty of electric drive. It's very, very flexible, it's very configurable, and because we have so many different kinds of vehicles in the fleet and we use them so many different ways, I think that's going to be important. Fleet operators, of course, will be able to do that a little bit better. They know what the drive cycle for their vehicles are. They live and die by cost per mile, so they're going to be able to figure that out and see this is going to be a vehicle platform. This particular configuration of electric drive, whether it be a pure battery electric vehicle or whether it be a plug-in hybrid, this is what's going to work for me, and I can actually figure out the total cost of ownership of that vehicle, and it makes good sense for me. They're all going to come to the market with slightly different configurations of this. They're going to aim at different parts of the market. And yes, the charging infrastructure, how they charge that vehicle to provide convenience for the consumer so that it's better than actually getting in their vehicle and going somewhere else to charge up, is going to be very important.